How much GP can I make in one day, 24 hours of playtime, starting on a fresh level 3 account that just finished Tutorial Island? I saw another YouTuber, Framed, try the same challenge a few weeks ago. He made just about 24 mil in 24 hours on a level 3. That's insane. So can I beat it? Probably not, but let's try. We start on a member's account, and the first step is to get some starting GP from the Stronghold of Security. I ran through Draenor and picked up some wines in case I needed food. I only got 5k. I don't need the other 5k, and it would take too long to get. Then we run over to the GE, get a Ring of Dueling and Varrock teleport, and head to Al-Kharid. I spent the remaining GP on bronze bars at the Shantae Pass. You can buy them for less than 10 GP each, and they sell on the GE for over 200. I bought 256 of them before the stock was starting to look low across worlds, so I teleported to Varrock, and they sold for 64k. Let's check the margins on a new method, grinding unicorn horns. Looks like there's roughly a 30 GP margin on them, so I bought as many as I could and ground them up. 6.6k profit in about 3 minutes, which is not great, and it's kind of click intensive, so we're gonna need a new strategy. If we add 2 volcanic ash to 1 super compost to make an ultra compost, that's pretty AFK and about 300k GP per hour at current margins. The supplies of the first batch cost 64k, and the product sells for 80k. That's much better than the unicorn powder. So let's do that a few more times, and now I have 244k, and I've been in game for 58 minutes. 40 minutes later, and the margins are shrinking on making the ultra compost. Time to switch strategies again, this time to some pie dish prepping. All you do is add dough to pie dishes and then sell them. Pretty simple. I made about 50k on that in 15 minutes, which again, isn't great. So let's switch over to tanning some green D-hides. The early game is all about accumulating wealth, so we can leverage that to get to better money makers. I tanned those hides in a few minutes and made 35k. We're up to 460k. 1 hour and 51 minutes in, and that's borderline enough for a relatively capital intensive method. I quickly did Druidic Ritual, which only takes 5 minutes, and then I spent 130k to get to 30 Herblore. We're down to 330k. You probably see where this is going. I've now unlocked making unfinished Raynar potions, which is almost 1 mil GP per hour if you have a lot of starting GP to not be constantly buying and selling the Raynars on the GE, which I don't, so it's closer to 500k per hour for now. I can only buy roughly 45 Raynars at a time, which is only 3 inventories of potions, and then I need to sell the potions and rebuy the Raynar weed. 3 inventories takes a little less than a minute though, including buying and selling everything on the GE, and the margin is roughly 4 to 5k on those 3 inventories. The more GP we make though, the faster we'll be making GP since we use the GE less and less as we have more Raynars. Now we're almost at 4 hours in, and I can buy and sell almost 100 Raynars each time. At the 4 hour mark, I sell my last batch, and I have just about 1 mil GP cash. And that's enough for the next strategy. Time to do Dwarf Cannon. It costs me about 10 minutes, but it's gonna have excess returns. Quest complete. And we'll get to the next money-making strategy right after this. Have you ever been told to use protection? I'm talking about ExpressVPN. It's super simple to use. All you do is select a country to connect to. ExpressVPN has hundreds of servers in dozens of countries. Then just click connect and wait roughly 5 seconds. This actually reroutes your connection through the ExpressVPN server you've selected, meaning it changes your online location, which can be incredibly useful. For example, it masks your IP address, which unfortunately is necessary in the Runescape community when nefarious players attempt to DDoS you in risky situations. Masking your IP address helps prevent repeated DDoS attacks, so protect yourself while you're out risking bank. But my favorite part about ExpressVPN is how they prioritize speed. In fact, ExpressVPN released an open source VPN protocol called Lightweight to make VPN connections faster and more secure. So, go to www.expressvpn.com/sirpugger to find out how you can get 3 months for free. Thanks to ExpressVPN for sponsoring this video. We're back, and now I can also afford a cannon. Starting with 1 ranged and a cannon is so satisfying. I'm gaining a range level every 5 seconds or so. So we run out of cannonballs at 36 ranged, which is not great planning on my part, but I pivot and buy some iron knives to finish up 40 ranged. I have 665k left, so I can use that to buy some rune and adamant arrows and leave a little bit of cash over because 40 ranged gets us into the ranging guild, which has has a literal money printing machine in it, the ammunition store. I can sell rune arrows there for 200 GP each, and they only cost 70 on the GE. Addy arrows are lower margin, but still worth it. I can also buy rune arrow tips for 200 GP each, and on the GE they sell for 300 each. Most of the types of metal arrows are profitable to buy from the shop and sell on the GE as well. A completely untouched, fresh shop nets like 10 to 15K per world. Usually someone has used the shop relatively recently though, so it's not that insanely profitable. But 15 minutes later, just to make sure everything sells, I quickly went back to the GE, and the arrow tips all sell for 810K. And I haven't even sold all the arrows. Total value is over 950K, and I started with 655K 15 minutes ago. That's well over 1 mil GP per hour. So let's do another round. Now we're 6 hours in, and I've sold all of the adamant and rune arrows. Time to sell all the arrow tips, and now I have 1.2 mil. We're only averaging 200K per hour, but we're well on our way to unlocking a better money-making strategy, which I'm gonna need 50 ranged for. So back to rock crabs, this time with a lot more cannonballs. And we're getting a nice 75K ranged XP per hour. And that's 50 ranged. Let's sell the cannon and excess supplies because it's time to get to the good moneymaker, which of course is revenants. At this low of a level, it's pretty unlikely that there are even any PKers that can kill me. I mean, I'm a level like 34 with 50 ranged, which is the absolute bare minimum to kill the Pyre Fiends. Let's do a real quick inventory because we just need a slightly more GP to afford the Amulet of Avarice, which will give us way better drop rates and 15% higher accuracy and damage against revenants. Got a runite ore drop off the first kill. Selling the loot from the first trip gives us just enough GP for the amulet. It's almost 800K, and I don't want to risk it when I go back, so I'm also gonna buy some big bones and go to the Wildy altar to get 26 prayer so I can protect item, but I can also use Hawkeye at 26 prayer to get a 10% boost in ranged damage, which matters since these revenants heal when they get to low HP, so every little DPS boost at my low level is a huge deal. And with the amulet and prayer boost, we're probably gonna get kills like 30 to 40% faster. I also was experimenting with the adamant crossbow versus the magic short bow. You probably already know this, magic short bow is definitely faster. 51 ranged coming in, 52 ranged. We're 8 hours into this 24 hours, and the first inventory is done with 400K in the bag. 53 ranged. The higher the range level I get, the better GP per hour, so let's just keep leveling up. Second inventory done, 480K in the bag. I think it's worth investing in another prayer upgrade to Eagle Eye for the 15% range bonus. Plus now I'll have protection prayers as I level up and get into a lot of low level PKers combat ranges. 44 prayer costs roughly 130K at the Wildy altar. I think it's definitely worth it. And there's the final level, 44 prayer. Let's head right back to Revenants. I'm definitely not strong enough for the Revenant Cyclops yet, even with Eagle Eye, so let's head back to the Pyre Fiends. And that's when this happens. No way. I just got a Thamaron Scepter? It's 4.6 mil. I'm level 53 range. That is so... I need to look up how rare that is. I haven't even killed that many of them. It's 1 in 34,000. 9 hours in. I mean, that bodes well. I probably have like a 6 mil bank at least at 9 hours in. 54 ranged. Man, I am flirting with these PKers. This one is 2 levels away from being able to attack me. Another 300K trip, and the Thamaron Scepter has sold for only 3.9 mil. It's crashing, unfortunately. 55 range. Nice big 600K trip coming in, 10 hours and 15 minutes in. 56 range, 369K. 57 range, 377K. 58 range, we're 11 and a half hours in. I wanted some quick motivation, so I liquidated the loot so far, not including my gear and supplies, which is probably a little bit over a mil. We're at 7 mil cash. 59 range. Absolutely juked this PKer in a ring around the rosy match. 375K trip. Big 60 ranged coming in. And 350K trip. I tried killing some Cyclops for 30 minutes. It's nice to get drops like Dragon Plate Legs, but I think we're not strong enough to kill them efficiently yet. So back to Pyre Fiends. I'm officially in the combat bracket of a lot of pure PKers here, and I'm currently trying to escape with over 500K in my looting bag. Those protection prayers are really coming in handy. That's so unfortunate. 61 ranged though. Figured I'd just finish it up before we go back to Revenants. I was like 500 XP away. But that unlocks a rune crossbow and Dragon Bolt's E, which means maybe, just maybe, I could start slapping around some higher level Revenants and get a lot more GP per hour. The bolts aren't cheap though. I spent like 30 minutes testing different Revenants with the Rune Crossbow and Enchanted Dragonstone bolts, and the only higher level Revenants than Pyrofiends that I can kind of efficiently kill is the Hobgoblins. After a quick test with the Imbued Magic Shortbow and Amethyst Arrows versus the Rune Crossbow and Dragonstone bolts, the Shortbow is still like 20% faster at getting kills. I'm getting 2 Hobgoblin kills per minute, and their average loot is 16k, which means theoretically if I exactly hit the drop table, I should be getting about 120 kills an hour. Let's round down to 100 since I'm not that efficient, but that would still be about 1.6 mil per hour. 370k trip, double Dragon Plate Legs drops from the Cyclops. I'm gonna bank those right away, that's 320k. 63 ranged, and we're 16 hours in. 300k trip, 64 ranged, 460k trip, 330k trip. These are really adding up. And that right there is an Ancient Crystal. 1 in 2,300 from a Pyrofiend, which is rarer than the 1 million GP emblem, but it's only 150k. We're continuing with the good RNG for the cheapest, rarest items. There's 65 ranged. That was so close again, and that PK almost got me for 436k. Another big trip, 420k. Now remember, use the passageways to your advantage. Don't run away, run around. Okay, let's liquidate the loot and see how much cash we have. We're in the green, 10 mil cash, a couple mil in supplies, and we're at 19 hours. 66 ranged, 478k trip. We're probably gonna need these Revenants to drop some emblems if we want to average 1 mil GP per hour and hit that 24 mil. So I also decided to get 30 defense. It reduces my kills per hour marginally for about 30 minutes, but the snake skin increases my ranged attack bonus a bit, so it's borderline better GP to kill the demons instead of Pyrofiends, but not quite yet. 70 ranged and 40 defense is when you really unlock enough D'hide armor to boost your ranged accuracy significantly, but I don't want to give up 2+ hours of training ranged and defense at the same time. 67 ranged. Now with my snakeskin armor, PKers splash their freezes more. Got away from that one with 380k in the bag. 426k trip. We have 1 hour remaining, which means we need some RNG here. 366k trip. There's a 500k magic seed drop, and we still have 45 minutes left. 68 ranged. No way, another Ancient Crystal? Wow, a lot is happening in these last 60 minutes, but we only have 4 minutes left of these 24 hours. Has it been 24 hours yet? Nope. One more. All right. Oh, still under time, but I was not lucky. I definitely don't have time for another kill. Let's go to the bank and see how much money I made. I'm pretty sure this inventory was really good. Yeah, 600k. I definitely should have switched over to the demons a little bit earlier, probably as soon as I got that 30 defense. I mean, I just made 600k in 10 minutes there. To be fair, I got an Ancient Crystal, but still, let's sell everything. So I'm also gonna calculate the expected value of the drops I got from my Revenant kill count. I'm curious if, since I didn't get lucky with an emblem, I'm actually below the expected value of the drops. But first, the final price check. Our total is just over 16 million GP. I think I should have gone to Revenant Demons earlier. I also had really good RNG at Revenants, but the rare drops were by far the cheapest of the rarest drops, if that makes sense. Our final stats are 30 defense, 68 ranged, 44 prayer, and 30 herb lore. Those stats coupled with 16 million GP is pretty decent progress for your first day on RuneScape. So the expected value of the Revenant KC I got is actually roughly 21.8 mil. So I came in 5.8 mil under expected RNG, but I still would have needed more efficient kills to break 24 mil in 24 hours. 10,000 likes and I'll make another one of these videos, or let me know in the comments if you'd rather see hours 24 to 100 on this account in a follow-up video. See you guys soon.